enough than a Monster Prom session.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. All right, are we working? Are we live? All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's see if everything's working right. What can possibly go wrong today? That has. Oh, I know what's wrong. I haven't shut my door. God bless America. Everything is just. Nothing can ever go right. Nothing ever.
I literally ask myself that every time I hit go live. What can go wrong today?
And I can't trust my roommate, so I had to lock my door. Isn't it great?
Mine usually comes to the same solution.
Anyway.
Of everything. Everything can go wrong.
Just assume everything's going to go wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much how these things have been going anyway. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fireside Chat podcast. My name is Eric, and I am here with the two beautiful souls that I am always with in the form of Leppely Plus and the Vivid Chim.
Hit me! And Vivid!
Hello.
Now, Vivid's voice is...
I sound like Pennywise for clown today.
Hey, Georgie.
Yes, so Vivid's trying out his Halloween costume early.
Yeah.
Georgie.
So Vivid has lost his voice due to wrestling, if I'm not mistaken,
Due
right?
to the pro wrestling events.
The wrestling.
The wrestling events, yes, absolutely. He went to the wrestling show and screamed and lost his voice.
Yes. The hometown boys won. The hometown boys won the belts.
Hey.
That's
and a British crowd is always more rowdy than an American crowd. So, and then you combine that with a hometown victory. Yeah, you're gonna lose your voice at least once. I lost mine twice in one day because mine usually recovers very quickly.
Is that like a new record, like twice in a day?
Probably, maybe because I lost it before the show started. Because we had a pre-show thing and everyone was super hype about that because it was just a meme. It was a meme, and because we just all got into it, so everyone was screaming and shouting for that. I then sorted that problem out by drinking, and by the time, and then for the next 3 hours maybe it was just more of the same. So any repairs that I had done with hydration were then completely fucked.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was a good night, but I had no suffering the consequences for it.
Well, Lepley, what have you been up to lately?
I'm not much.
Anime.
Entire day watching anime, and then I spent all day yesterday playing Minecraft and Final Fantasy 14. So
I'm quite proud of myself. I've not played Minecraft in a couple of days.
I was on most of yesterday morning, and then I hopped on again after I played like 4 or 5 hours, and then I hopped like back into Minecraft. I had important things to do. So yeah, that was my day.
So I have not played on the Minecraft server in a couple of days. Ever since I went through and I made the new world and I downloaded that Kingdom world, I haven't been on. I haven't been on since that live stream.
That was confusing as shit, by the way.
Yeah. So
just like suddenly being in a new world.
Well, I told everyone I was doing it because it was like I said I was gonna tour it and explore the possibility, and then it was like everyone was like, yeah, sure, go for it. Let's get a new world. Let's do a new world. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go ahead and do it. What's going on, Kyle? I was like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and make the new world then. And then, Nick was like, I found a mesa. And I still haven't heard any word about a jungle biome yet. That's the only thing I'm waiting on.
No. I went exploring yesterday, or was it? Yeah, yesterday. So my big exploring that I did last night, the big explore, was Cursed had found like a shipwreck and an underwater temple, and so I was just gonna go out in my boat and like cruise around and see what I could find. And so I found where his boat was because he had died and like left his boat. And I found his boat and I was like, oh, this must be where Cursed died. And then so I went and I explored the shipwreck and got like a whole bunch of shit out of there. That was a good haul. And got a little bit out of part of the temple and then cruised around and found another shipwreck and got more good shit. Like I went like way around. Like we're on like an island practically.
Okay.
Like a very large island because I just like kept going around the coast and it just kept going around. So A plus would recommend. Found some good shit.
Well, I'll definitely have to take a look at that. I've also, I think it was Curse that said all the villagers have decided to hide in the well.
Yeah, they were doing that when I was in
That
there.
was yeah. I actually took a screenshot. I think I posted it in the. Did I post it in the chat? I didn't. Let me share it because I took a screenshot because I was cracking up.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Kyle. You're posting in German, and I can't understand German, and I don't have a translate feature on here, so I have no idea what you're saying. But you know what? I'm so upset because I saved the picture on.
There, Eric.
Where are we at here? Where are we at here? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So they're all hiding in the. They are all. I don't know if I'm.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right. They're all hiding in the well.
Also, Bonnet and I came upon two villagers yesterday that were like standing next to the well and like making out because there were like a whole bunch of hearts popping up around their head and it was just grunts and I don't know what was happening, but I was a little disturbed and Bonnet and I just like stood there and we were like,
That's bizarre.
Has anyone stolen my house yet?
I don't know. We had a
my
very
house is the
large-
one with like the slightly bigger one, and it has like a glass going all the way around it.
Well, we had a very intense pillager raid yesterday.
Oh,
And,
did we? Okay.
yeah, and Cursed and what's his face? MG Deception tried to fight them off, and all of our villagers died.
Okay.
And it took them.
Right.
It took them like, I'm pretty sure it took them like an hour to fight off all of the raiders. It was intense, and I at one point saw a village like a pillager ride in on like a giant beast, and I just like noped out and like went back into the cave that I came out of. I was like, nope,
Yep.
not dealing
the
with
big
it.
berserkers. Yeah, they're intense. Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
there was one thing I was looking at when I was looking for the worlds to download. It was all these like preset ones. There was a couple that I thought might be fun, but I didn't know if they'd be fun for our group, you know. And that's when I found again, Kyle. I don't know what you're saying, so I really can't respond to anything you're typing. No, I found that kingdom map. And it's basically the premise. I posted it on the Discord, which, by the way, guys, if you're not in the Discord, you should be. If anyone here is lurking, and if you're not in the Discord, you should be. But I found this kingdom map, and basically what it is it's designed to be like your party saved this realm from darkness or something like that, and now you're supposed to be exploring the new world. And basically picking up the pieces and restoring everything, right? So basically, they have customized everything. There's a massive like, Whiterun from Skyrim. It's like this big ass like gated city that's supposed to be like, it looks like it's almost designed like them, and it's got like houses and a merchant square, and it's got all this kind of crazy stuff. And then outside, it's got farms. It's got shacks, and then there's pathways that lead way out. There's big forests, there's water, it's basically like, it literally feels like Skyrim almost, except for you don't have like NPCs giving you quests, but you can like explore everything, and like there's chests throughout the world that has items in it to like get you started on things. It's really, really interesting. It's really, really cool. And I thought that would be really good.
Pretty cool.
I thought that would be really good for us to like do like a roleplay series on. So that's what I was planning there. At some point, obviously. I don't know exactly when we could do it, just because our times for that type of stuff never seem to match up. But I felt like that would be something that'd be really cool to do. And also, speaking of Minecraft, for those of you guys who don't know,
I was getting on my nerves.
yeah, I mean, um,
Speaking English.
what was crazy is shit, I lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
today we're doing questions.
Yes, today we're doing questions, but I have a YouTube video that I uploaded. I finally got back into YouTube again, so that's cool. I posted that video. What was it? Yesterday? Think so.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm back on YouTube again. I don't know how regular it's gonna be, but it's there.
I will also be on YouTube very soon. Again, other than podcast VODs, anyway.
I mean, I posted a Minecraft clip the other day, so I guess I'm technically back on YouTube.
Is it the pumpkin one?
It was totally the pumpkin one.
Oh my god, that
bitch is stealing your pumpkin.
That pumpkin shit was hysterical. Was that like before was that like when I was doing my application when that was going on?
Yeah, that was when you were doing the application and Vivid
it was just before.
House.
Yeah, it was just before.
Yeah. And I just like I happened to walk out the door and this Enderman is just like standing there with a pumpkin and I look at him and he like turns and like walks and I was like, whoa.
Oh my god. That was like that had me weak. Like Minecraft has been such a gold mine for us lately.
It really has. The real clincher was when like he put down the pumpkin and then picked up the clump of dirt. He just like stood on the pumpkin and was like, well, if I can't have this pumpkin, I'm gonna take this dirt. Just like grab a chunk of dirt and
that's why you farm your crops as soon as they're ready.
Yep. I just harvested all mine earlier today.
Oh man. But yeah, so today we are doing the AMA, and that is an Ask Me Anything type podcast. Please keep your questions in English. It's the only language any of us speak.
Yep.
So if you post it in something not English,
I speak Spanish, but not well enough to answer any questions. So sorry.
It's certainly the only ones that we speak well enough.
Yeah, I can speak very little Spanish, and I can speak even less Ukrainian, and that's all I got for you. Anything outside of that, I am completely unavailable. What's going on, press? Hello, welcome to the podcast. I hope it's not lagging.
Yeah, I speak bits and pieces, and really the only thing that I could answer if you asked me something in German would be if you asked me if I was a cheese pizza. That's the only answer I can give you.
I speak English, Welsh, but there's no point because no one else does, and a little bit of Spanish and French, but it's mainly English.
Mainly English. Yes. I can speak. I've been doing Duolingo for Ukrainian, just because there might be a cute Ukrainian that I work with at work. That's not important. We're not going to get into that. But you know, if it's funny because like there's like three of I work with like three of them, and I Bella, hello, Bella, hi.
You scared the shit out of me.
I'm so sorry. She scared the shit out of me. I wasn't expecting her. Oh my god. No, so I started doing Ukraine and I started using Duolingo. I can speak very, very few phrases if you would like me to say one. I can say shonotok, which is what's wrong, literally translated to is what's not right. And that's about where it ends.
Nice,
it's funny.
Nice.
So like she'll be like my coworker will be like really pissed off, and I'll be like, "Shut talk," and then she'll like stop because she's not expecting me to ask her in Ukraine, and it kind of like takes her out of the situation. It's like it calms her down. It's
nice.
A nice way to just keep the floor nice and even.
Meanwhile, I don't have those skills like in any language. I can get by with Spanish. I got us by in Mexico City, just barely. We scraped by, but expect me to learn anything because I just know like bits and pieces of other languages. Like,
Yeah.
I can only say "Ich bin ein Käsepizza" in German, and that means I am a cheese pizza.
Yeah.
So
I can
Oh my God.
ask I can
I
walk in and be like, thank you for that host. Now this is what's gonna bother me because I'm having to use my laptop for the Streamlabs for this because I can't get window capture to work on my fucking PC.
does
So all of my
Popty Ping
alerts
count as me knowing Welsh, Vivid?
I mean, it is Welsh, so.
I can say
all I got.
don't I can say donde es la no donde es el baño, which is where is the bathroom. I have actually had to use that sentence before. That's
So I do know my other Welsh word that stuck in my head is the word for carrot because it's spelled moron.
Yeah, it is moron.
Yeah. That's the only Welsh word that has stuck in my head.
Yeah, that microwave.
And pants. Popty ping, moron, and trusus. And that's it. That's all I got. That's it. That's it.
I didn't know Welsh had its own language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the best language because we stopped giving a fuck after a certain year.
Fucking batshit crazy language is what it is, and I love it so much.
Yeah. We stopped giving a fuck after a while and just started naming shit to piss people off.
Like,
So, like
there's so few so few vowels. It's just all consonants, and it doesn't make any sense.
Like like pretty much anything to do with a vehicle is just vehicle but spelt slightly differently. So taxi is spelled T-A like C-S-I, I believe. So it's taxi instead of tax. And then bus is
so clever.
BWS. It devolves into Scotland Gaelic, doesn't it? Now Welsh is pretty much completely separate from both of them because there's like the three separate ones essentially.
Did you
But
say...
we're the one that survived.
I'm stuck on something. Did you just say you guys spell bus BWS?
Yeah, boost.
Yeah.
Because we don't really use U as a U sound.
And the W makes the double O sound.
Yeah.
As I learned, because that's how trusus is spelled. It's TRWSUS.
U tends to make a E sound.
That is
it's weird. That's why I tried to use Rosetta Stone to teach myself Welsh. And it's real fucking difficult. That's why the only word that I came out of that with is moron. because it's
because
easy
that's
to
something you picked up on, right? you talk to
it.
you talk to me in Vivid all the time. You're used to talking to morons, so it's
so
picked up on it.
When I'm actually calling someone a moron, am I calling you a moron or am I calling you a carrot? They both kind of mean the same thing, so it works either way.
Thank you. Is that going to be our insult now? We're just going to fling that as you're being a carrot right now.
You're being a carrot.
You're being a carrot right now. All right, so
you can also call someone stupid, which is just tup. So you can say you're tup, and thus you're an idiot. Tup, TWP, I believe.
TWP. Okay, good.
Tup.
So today's podcast is supposed to be an AMA edition. It's the Ask Us Anything because we took last week off, so we wanted topics. So if you guys in chat have any questions you would like to ask the three of us, anything about our live streaming, what have you, whatnot, go ahead and fire. I do have a couple that we got from Twitter. I guess we'll start there. We'll actually start off of something that our friend Greg asked us in Vivid's Discord. We're big gamers, obviously. And all of us are really excited about the new CD Projekt Red game, Cyberpunk 2077. That's what we're kind of all circling right now. They're the same company, for those of you guys that have been living under a rock. They're the same company that made The Witcher 3. And it recently came out that they, now that Cyberpunk 2077 is coming so close to release, they're splitting off. And one team is working on The Witcher 4, or at least supposedly, more than likely The Witcher 4. It's a Witcher game that they're working on.
Yeah, Witcher game.
Yeah.
And so Greg asks, what's your hot take on CDPR splitting their development teams between Cyberpunk 2077 and a rumored new Witcher game? Is there a crunch? Do you think there's risks of rushed, lower quality games? Or no sweat, they can handle it?
Well, from what I read, because I'm the one who keeps up with this shit the most, it just seems to me that this is just a natural progression for them at the moment because they're getting bigger as a company because they're making more money for a start. The Witcher 3 sold a lot because it's considered the best game of all time. Cyberpunk has already sold a lot. It's already the most pre-ordered game on Steam ever. So that's by itself, and that's not including the other pre-orders elsewhere. Like they're making a lot of money, and they're probably fairly confident in themselves. And also, Cyberpunk's at a point in development where they could probably split off developers who aren't doing anything to working on another project that they want to work on. And if they're going forward as a dual brand company, which seems to be the case, they'll probably split their teams into ones who are like, hey, you guys, if you don't want to work on a game like Cyberpunk again, like if you would prefer just to keep working on like Witcher, you can go work on that franchise's team essentially, and then we can go to this one. And whilst splitting sounds like a bad idea, they're probably also bringing more people in at the same time to do both the two teams. And chances are, how this started was because Cyberpunk's at a point now where we've seen gameplay of it. They just revealed some of it, and it's one of those scenarios now where they're getting to the point where they just have to kind of like just polish it off. Essentially, it looks like, and just finish up more so like things like I don't know, like quests or whatever. It seems to be less in areas like to pull a random one on my head because I don't know this to be the case, but like landscape design, for example, like designing the world design. Say, for example, they had 20 level designers. They have 20 level designers working on building that world, and it's a big open world and all that. But as soon as they've got that down and to a point where it's like built, and then the other people can then put stuff into that world, they don't need 20 level designers working on that world.
Right.
They can go down to maybe 5, and the other 15 are just sitting there. So it's probably helpful if they want to immediately go into the next game to go to those 15. Hey, do you want to just go work on the Witcher stuff? And they can start crafting that world then, whilst the 5 remaining behind, or however many it is, are just working on like tuning it up, fixing it out, eyeing any issues in prep for launch. And they'll probably keep a small amount after launch as well to just fix and patch up any bugs that are found by the community or whatever. A good example is like Bethesda do the same thing. Bethesda have Starfield coming at some point, but they've already said they've already they've already said they've got people working on the Elder Scrolls 6. You know what I mean? And granted, Bethesda is a bigger company,
and we'll see both of them in like 10 years.
Aiming to come to that point, so having them be like, hey, you guys want to go work on this, you know what I mean? It's not really an unnatural thing. It's just how they dish it out is going to be the thing, and we're not going to know about that until we see it,
Right.
It's kind of the natural progression of development companies as they grow and start to take on more projects. They have like specific teams that work on specific projects within the company. So it makes sense to me, and I am excited for basically all of it. Just give it to me.
The only concern is they said they wanted the next 2 major titles by 2021 before. So that's Cyberpunk and another game. So that's a big ask. So that would be crunch. But I'm assuming they've probably like maybe taken a step back due to how much crunch has been looked at, and if they haven't, they're just going to be called out on it anyway, and we'll probably
I feel like Nintendo's done a pretty good job of killing any type of crunch lately with how they've been treating that. So
basically,
Nintendo
for a second, I gotta go close my door.
So, Nintendo just really don't give a shit, and I love it.
Yeah,
they just do their own thing. They're like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. So stop real quick. So we'll go ahead and answer Bella's question here in chat. Bella's like, her question is, what do you two stream/do? Leppely is a chair.
Leppely's currently a chair.
Well, she said she was going to close the door. But both of them
Sweet.
are streamers. Vivid does. You're more Mixer right now, right?
Yeah, they mix of podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast host essentially.
Yeah. So Vivid
I also
does
do
a
YouTube aside
Thursday.
from that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Vivid
every
does
Thursday.
YouTube, and then every Thursday over on Mixer, he does the Vivid Chim podcast, where he gets a guest and ends up talks about gaming. He has a journalist degree, in gaming, right? The gaming journalist.
It's journalism, but I focused on gaming for my degree, essentially.
Right. Yeah. So it was gaming centric, but obviously, as you could tell by how he broke the CD Projekt Red stuff down, very good at what he does. But that's pretty
At
much
least
what
I'm good at faking it.
Yeah, he's good at making you think he's good at it anyway.
Yeah.
But that is the Vivid Chim podcast is on Thursdays. Every Thursday he has a different guest. They talk about gaming news. They do a shill.
Yes.
Where
We
he
talk
shows
about a
something.
game that they bring to the show
Yes.
as well. That
Yes.
they love and want to talk about more. And it's usually one which I probably haven't played and should, or I don't know a lot about, so I have to do research, and that's always quite fun.
Leppely was a chair. Now suddenly she's a woman again. So that's nice. Lep does streams here on Twitch as well. Is your stream under Leppely or Leppely Plus?
My Twitch is just Leppely.
It's just Leppely. Okay, yeah, Leppely Plus.
Leppely.
Yeah, so it's just Leppely on Twitch, but Leppely Plus on YouTube. All three of us have YouTube channels as well. So
Started on YouTube, now we here.
Yes, started on YouTube. YouTube went to the shitter, and now we're here. And now Twitch is slowly going down the shitter as well. I think it might be us.
Is it us?
I think we're the problem.
I think it was very convenient that we decided that me and you decided to go basically full time on here, and that's when Twitch is like, we're not gonna just do whatever you want. Just
when would be a good time to shit the bed right now? Yeah, that's pretty much.
Oh God!
Much
But yeah, but we basically shit post on YouTube now. Or at least that's what Leppely does. Basically, Leppely makes meme videos.
I found my calling and I ran with it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a very good calling though. It's very, very high quality meme material over there.
I like to think so. I'm glad you guys like it.
I always do. I love it. And then obviously, you know me. I do this and YouTube. I've taken this year off of YouTube.
Your cadence didn't have to change so much when saying, I do this.
I do this.
I do this.
I'm working on my confidence by sticking my face in front of a camera. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, that's us. That is us. We don't have a name yet. We don't have a name for this group. We're just us.
Just us.
Do you think that name is marketable? Just us.
And then, well, I mean, they made a movie called Us, and it made a lot of money. So
yeah, but I don't.
And
think
I sound like the fucking main villain from that at the moment. So. But the other thing as well is that we also occasionally, very occasionally, do a multiplayer dating game stream.
Yes.
Where we play a dating sim.
Yes.
And that shit's hilarious.
I don't know if you've heard of the game Monster Prom, Bella, but the three of us became very well known by the developers of that game because of our live streams, and we'll put like voices to it and everything like that. And they're usually
we tag them and everything. We
shill the fuck out of it. Like we tag them and everything. We tag them on Twitter. We comment on everything. Eventually they took notice, and then we have been pestering them that if they add new characters to the sequel they're working on, that we want to be voice actors for them.
Hell yeah!
And we're
sadly they have, and yet
that's when they stopped responding to us.
Yeah. Sadly, they have added new characters, and yet
we still
are
jobless. But you know what? Fuck them voice actors. We're gonna make our own voices.
Well, they have the mod tool. We can do that.
I mean, just think they're missing out on a solid Christopher Walken impersonation.
God, that stream was a nightmare. Dear God.
That stream was amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
It went off the rails and downhill
so fast. Faster than your rail ride in my. Honestly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. That again. Back to Minecraft. Minecraft has taken over our lives.
We is Minecraft or bust in this world right now.
So, the next question that we have here. This is by some weird chick named Leppely Plus.
Weird. She sounds.
Are we including our meme questions?
So,
I would like to preface this with, I had been on vacation and I had vacation brain, and I'd forgotten that we were a part of this AMA, and I thought it was just for you. So you were like, ask us questions, and I was like, okay, here's a question.
Yeah, Leppely goes, here's a question. I was like, sure, we can answer it, but you know you're going to have to answer this question there too, right? And she goes, oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm a part of it too. These are my friends, Bella. These are the two I consider my closest
brain
friends
is
here.
a serious problem,
I mean, to be fair, I knew I was part of this, and I just asked meme questions.
Anyway, Leppely asks, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Now, I don't know. I'll let you two answer this first while I'm thinking of a proper response.
I have my answer, so I'll let y'all answer because I want to hear your answers. I don't want to spoil it for y'all. I've thought about this question before because I ask this question every time an AMA pops up. I'm like, oh, well, would you rather fight?
This is her go-to. She doesn't even think about it. I got one for you. Copy paste.
It basically it's just like I see the words AMA and people are like, I'm doing it AMA. Ask me questions, and I'm like,
I hit 1,000 subs. Ask me any day. Oh God.
Yeah.
For me, it's the horse-sized duck.
One horse-sized duck. So you're willing to take on a gigantic Donald Duck that could probably pole vault your ass across a field.
Okay,
but there's also only one of them.
But he's huge.
Yeah,
rather.
But see, horses buck. All right. They also fuck, but they buck. I want to preface that.
All I'm saying is, I'd rather take on one target than 100 targets. You know what I mean?
And let's be honest here.
And also, if we win against the duck, then you've got duck, which is more delicious than horse.
And that's a big ass duck too.
But okay, so what if it's like a Bruce Lee movie where all the bad guys are like in a circle and they like wait their turn? So it's just like 100 horse-sized ducks and they're just waiting for their next turn to get their ass kicked, and you're just like, pow!
But they're still horses.
If we're playing by the laws of Bruce Lee movies and some of the John Wick,
I always assume that question came under the laws of Bruce Lee movies.
If that's the case, then obviously it's the 100 little things. But if it's like a video game or some shit, or like real life where 100 of them would be swarming at you, I'd rather focus on the one thing.
Yeah, give me the one duck. Just give me the one duck.
Yeah.
I will take my chances with the big bitch.
It depends. If it falls under Bruce Lee rules, take 100 small horses. But if not, I will take my chances with the big ass duck.
So, going off of a similar preface in terms of multiple shits, we'll come back to Vivid's question in a second. This one kind of relates. Yemi asks, how many fourth graders do you think you could take in a fight? Now, Yemi has a typo in his question. And he asked originally, how many fourth graders could you take in a tight? Now, I took this the wrong way. And I was like, I shall be putting no fourth graders in my tights. Thank you very much. He then corrected himself to fight, which I knew, but I wanted to play the meme game here.
I don't know. I mean,
but how many
if you get big enough tights, you could probably fit like 2.
No. Yeah. No fourth graders in my tights. None. 0. I'm not going to jail for that. All right? I will go to jail for public intoxication,
But imagine
and
the
bar
memes
fighting.
for it.
You're not gonna Jeffrey Epstein me here. No.
How many could you take in a fight?
That's probably the edgiest joke I've ever made on Twitch, so I hope nobody clips that one.
It's a good one, though. It's such a solid one.
Very, very topical. So.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm a big dude, so I could probably take quite a few in a fight. Like,
have you seen fourth graders now? Though those bitches are giants.
Fourth graders are like huge. I could not take any. I have like little linguini arms.
Yeah, look at her hands in the picture down there. You see this?
Yeah, I mean, just look
all I'm saying
at
is
these tiny ass hands. I can't do anything with those. Come on.
Kids are getting smaller here, so you know that ain't a problem for me. You know, I'm 6'2". I'll be fine.
It's insane, man. Like kids, so my brother's 6.5 years younger than me, right? So the way school always felt, he was 7 years behind in terms of school. And so when I was in high school and I was, freshman and sophomore in college, I would go to the school to pick him up, right? Now, obviously, it's a bit older than fourth grade, but 7th and 8th graders were taller and bigger than me. I felt like I was the fucking... Some of these dudes they're like 9th graders with Viking beards, all right? I was like, that's not natural. What do they feed you fuckers now? Man?
It's a whole lot of genetically modified corn.
Then, of course,
probably one horse-sized duck or one.
One horse-sized. Yeah. If it's in the UK, it's the horses, though. But legit though, it's like fourth graders, especially fourth graders here, like that age, they're quite small. Like they're still fairly small. So, 6'2" with size 11s or size 12s in the UK feet. I could boot some boys away.
I literally couldn't. Like I can't. I can't. I have zero upper body strength. Like I did a self-defense as a week-long ladies self-defense, and at the end of that week,
did Mo Sislak run it?
Mm-hmm. What?
Did Mo Sislak run
it? Yes. No, at the end of the week, we had to fight, actually physically fight HPD officers that volunteered to let us beat them up and, use the stuff that we learned. And so they were all, padded up and, coming in, attacking us and trying to grab us and stuff. And, I have zero upper body strength. And so anytime they would come and grab me, I would fight and struggle and just get absolutely nowhere until I think finally they would feel bad and just let me go so that I could move on with the little training. It was horrible. I was just God. I did, however, get to Sparta kick a cop in the chest, and that feels solid. Just to Sparta kick anybody in the chest. In my head, I was full on this is Sparta, and just planted my foot in his sternum. It was so great. But yeah, no, I could not take a fourth grader at all. I couldn't. I could probably fit two of them in my tights. Could not fight them though.
No.
They would have to go willingly, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. They would have to be okay, look, we're just gonna line up in a row, and you just take a big hammer and just beat us upside the head with it. That's basically how. That's how that's gonna go.
Yep. I mean, do I get a taser? If I get a taser, then yeah. But I'll fucking tase a fourth grader.
You're fucking Texas, okay?
Brass knuckles are legal now, man.
Oh, yeah,
exactly. You can carry that shit now.
As of today, which all the good laws seem to have with the September 1st start dates, because I saw in my Facebook memories 3 years ago, it became legal to carry swords, so you can open carry swords in Texas.
And brass knuckles.
And now you can carry brass knuckles. And I mean, we can open carry guns. So
you would think they would have done that in reverse order.
Coming, son.
You would. We lost you for a second, David. What was that?
You're becoming GTA San Andreas.
basically. The next one's just going to be GTA San Antonio. Is what it's going to be. Yeah.
Speaking of carrying bladed weapons, a dude got arrested for carrying a spear through my old university town.
Nice.
I was just like, one of my mates runs a student paper essentially. I was just like, oh, man gets arrested for openly carrying spear through Coventry City Centre. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's insane. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is insane.
That kind of shit wouldn't even make news here.
No,
especially now that it's legal. As before, like, 4 years ago, totally people would have been like, wow, this scary guy was carrying a sword through the Galleria in downtown. Now that it's legal, it's just like, oh yeah, and Tim took his Zweihander over to Walmart.
His Zweihander. Tim took Old Faithful down to the Target to get some get some shine down on it.
Yeah, it takes
get some mead.
Takes me 20 minutes to get ready to go to Walmart because I got to strap my claymore to my back, and I also got to strap AK on the other side, and then I got to make sure that I've got the right brass knuckles for Wednesday because I can't be wearing Thursday's brass knuckles.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's just you got to make sure you have the right hands brass knuckles because that's a little bit different, right? So it's just like they're like shoes.
Differently.
They're like shoes. Yeah. They fit a little different, right? They got a little bit of different curvature to it. So you got to make sure you got the right handle for your sword to match the right knuckle that you
Here's the thing, though. How the fuck have you guys got a gun problem if people are allowed to carry swords? Because surely at that point, people are like, why the fuck would I carry a gun around? The sword's way more fucking badass looking.
Right? Like, I don't know. I got nothing, honestly. Because I'd fucking rather carry a sword.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, I'd carry my bows, but I'm pretty
carry
sure
a battle axe.
Pretty sure those are legal to carry. I don't think there's like an illegal thing about carrying a bow with you but I don't have the apparatuses to carry them.
So we mentioned fighting fourth graders, right? Yeah. So Chop, who unfortunately was not able to make it tonight because he has school tomorrow morning. We love you, Chop. Chop asks, have you ever punched someone or get into any fights when you were in school? No. I was extremely bullied, horribly. I don't think I've ever talked about that really on stream, but yes, I was bullied horribly. So I've had people hit me. I've had people take, little horrifying, sad story here. I was in Spanish class one time. And I had a bunch of kids take paper balls, staple the paper balls, and then chuck them at my head. I actually had a massive cut on the back of my head from that. Yeah, I had a massive cut on the back of my head. And I stood up. We were doing like a craft thing, and I stood up, and I was holding a pair of scissors, right? It was a substitute teacher. All she saw was me stand up with the scissors in my hand. I got written up. I got sent to the principal. I was sent home that day, and the assistant principal tried to suspend me for... I think they tried to get me for 10 days, and luckily two other students came up and was like, no, this is what happened. Yeah, so I never got into a fight ever. I never hit anybody else because I was a skinny ass, scrawny, nerdy, kid, right? And I never fought back because I was scared to. I was like, they're already beating my ass. I'm not gonna fight back and get even worse, So I thought maybe if I just kept it even, they would leave me alone, but never did until I graduated. So never got into a physical fight, but I have been hit on, I guess.
I have never gotten into a fight, but I did have a dude slap me in Spanish class one day.
What the fuck is up with Spanish class?
Dude, I don't... Oh, fuck. I grew up in Corpus where like 90% of the population is Hispanic. Like white people were the minority.
Oh gosh, hold on.
Isn't there a GIF where like, isn't there like a bunch of GIFs where Spanish women slapping people as well?
Yeah.
That's immediately what came to my mind.
Yeah.
Was that ifs with like just a woman, a Spanish woman, just slapping the shit out of someone.
Yeah, those are classic telenovela gifts. Those are solid too. No, so we were in Spanish class one time, and it was like towards the end of the year, and we had a sub, and like we were all sitting there like talking and just like bullshitting because we weren't doing anything in class. And my friends and I were talking with like the guy and like the people that were behind us, and like I was turned around like behind, like looking back in my seat, and all of a sudden, dude just like reaches over and just like slaps the shit out of me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And like even my friends were like, "What the fuck was that?" Because like we weren't like in a fight or anything. Like he just like out of nowhere just like blindsided me, and his excuse was, "Oh, well, she looked like my sister for a second." And I was like, "Listen here, motherfucker." And the substitute teacher was just like, "You can slap him back." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
That's not even remotely a good excuse.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
most Texan response.
Yeah, basically, it was horrible. I also, in another instance, have actually slapped a girl before, and I won't go into too much detail because I had plans on doing like story time videos, and that was what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But so I too, growing up, was bullied fairly frequently by a particular group of girls that I went to summer camp.
I feel like this needs to become a topic on this stream. Bullying.
Right? It should. We've got experience.
We've all been crying.
But we've done cried a lot. But yeah, so I was always bullied by like this particular group of girls, and like one day they were making fun of me, and I just got fed with it, and I slapped one of them. And no, I didn't get in trouble because fuck them. But
yeah, fuck them.
Like it caught them like totally by surprise because they were not expecting it. But they just like they just like pushed me like to the edge because they at that point they'd been doing it for like 5 or 6 years, like every year, just like making fun of me. And I was just like, you know what? I'm fucking done. So I slapped a bitch. I still hate her, and now she got what's coming to her because I feel like she's really got what's coming to her because she just had fucking quadruplets. So
oh my,
not that we need 4 more of her in the world, but now she gets to just deal with that shit all the time.
Yep. What about you, Vivid? Have you ever punched anybody or been in a fight at all in school at all?
I've been in a few. because like I was also bullied as a kid, but I was also bigger than like 99% of the other kids. So I'm a very patient guy.
Being 6'2" really gives you an advantage.
I never understood bullying the bigger kids. I don't understand that. Why would you bully someone who could like we had like a lot of overweight guys in my high school, and they got so bullied, and I literally watched one guy, and I always said I was like why would it was trying to be funny, but I was like, why would you pick on someone that can sit on you and kill you? And I remember there was one time in gym class where they started picking on this dude, and he's like 500 pounds, and literally the dude pushed him on the ground and then sat on him, and the kid was crying. The kid that was bullying him was crying in pain, and all of us just kind of sat and went,
he deserves it.
Yeah.
We don't see it. I never understood picking on the bigger kids. Never understood it.
But yeah, you know, it was like I've been 6'2" since I was like 14 maybe. So I'm just like, you know, I've been tall for a while, and like even before that, I was a tall like young kid. You know, by the time I was entering high school, I was about 5'5", 5'6". So by the time I got to age 12, I was already approaching 5'8". So you know, it just got to the point where it was like I could just like because it was quite funny because it was always like a kid who had like a short man syndrome or something, so I could just pick him up and slam him onto a table or something, and just be like, "The fuck are you doing?"
Nice.
But like one of them was like when I was younger, and just it was just like this one kid who just like wore my patience down, and I'm a very patient dude, but I'm a very reserved dude as well. Like outside of like the streams and the content stuff, I don't talk about my life really. It's just like I'll chat if I've done something maybe, but like other than that, I don't really talk about what's going on. I never do. I don't bother because I just prefer keeping it to myself. But like this one kid was just like wore me down to the point. I remember I just like kind of shoved him back, and I shoved him back so hard he like, cracked his head back on a metal fence because
Yikes.
I just like threw him back into the fence. And then we
But he
both ended
deserved
up
it. I mean,
going
he
to
was
like,
a dick. So I mean,
yeah, like it'd been for like 6 months, so it was just like, it got to the point where I was like, I'm sick of your shit, dude. So I just went back, like just shoved him back. His head went back, cracked, like these, and like when I'm saying fence, I don't mean like ones you see in like American movies where it's kind of like is it chain link?
Yeah, the chain link fences.
The very typical. No, these are like steel
Yeah.
beams.
Oh,
So
like a
these
wrought
are like
iron
steel.
fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like thick square ones instead of small thin ones.
Oh,
So there was no budge there, and we ended up in
jeez.
front of the headmaster, and I was just like, look, he's being a fucking dick.
yeah, he's being a cock.
He's been
so
a
I hate
dick
him.
for about
Fair, yeah.
yeah. He's been a dick for 6 months, and he just said something that went the wrong way, and fucking hit him for it.
Jeez.
I've also been in a nightclub fight.
A
There you
nightclub
go.
fight? Oh, so
Yeah.
so basically, Vivid's the guy I gotta go to nightclubs with. I got you. Vivid knows how to defend himself when they start getting rowdy.
Well, it's just like I won't do shit, but if someone does enough, I'll just maybe do one thing, and then I'll just be like, whatever about it. I can't remember what it was. I think I headbutted the dude. I was drunk as shit. So, as far as I'm aware, I headbutted the dude just because, like, he like, as far as I'm aware, because like I said, I was drunk as shit. So I've only been retold the story. He bumped into me, then started having a go at me. Because, like I said, I'm a bigger guy, so he's like having a go at me, and I'm just like, "The hell are you talking about, dude?" It's like I'm just standing here chatting, and then like, he pretty much just like slaps me as well. Funnily enough,
Oh, what?
so I just fucking headbutted him because I was like, "Fuck you,"
Jeez.
because I'm just like, I have a good pain threshold as well, so it's just like whatever. It's like I'm at the point where I'm drunk, so I'm not gonna feel anything anyway. So I just headbutted him, and those are pretty much like my 2/3 main experiences. Because one of them was literally just pushing a kid onto a table and just being like, "The fuck are you doing?" Because he was like 4 foot, approaching 6, and I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Going back to my point of why would you pick on the kids that are twice the size of you? I
Yeah,
don't understand.
Yeah,
right?
you stupid fuck. What are you doing? Like,
God.
Oh, Jesus.
well, yeah.
So, going into some meme questions that Vivid posted, have you ever noticed the irony behind hyphenated and non-hyphenated? That's an easy one. Yes. Why is the English language like this? Like, I don't understand.
The English language is fucked. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's just it was something I randomly came across. It was like, do you have you ever noticed the irony of non-hyphenated? And I was like, that's hyphenated and non-hyphenated. I was like, that's fucking great.
Yep. It's like they say, the English language is just 6 languages in a trench coat.
Yeah.
That's why it makes no sense. Because
It's so good.
6 languages in a trench coat.
Do crabs think fish are flying? Now, I've actually thought about this one before. And
I mean, you're the marine biologist.
I'm
Exactly.
a biologist here, so if I recall correctly, I believe the answer would be yes. To an extent, just because like if you think of like from a crab, like you're underwater, so you know they're swimming. So I guess flying wouldn't be right, but I do believe that a crab would be like if you become a crab, right? And a crab it has human emotions and human thoughts. And you're a baby crab, right? And you're just coming into where you have a conscious thought, and you see this big son of a bitch float above you, I think that would catch you off guard at first. Okay?
Probably. Probably.
A little bit of a origin story for that. It's from when I went to Amsterdam with my university group, and naturally, because it's legal to partake in Amsterdam, everyone did.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the girls just blurted that out when we were all sat around a table drinking. We were all sat around the table drinking, having fun, and she's just like high as shit. Just goes, "Do you think crabs think fish are flying?" We just all looked at her and were like, "What?"
Wait a second.
And she was like, "Do you think crabs?" I was like, "Probably not, but I think they understand how swimming works, but okay." And it was just a really funny moment with like all of it, because it was pretty much all of us there, other than like maybe 7 of us out of like the 40, the like 35 who went or something, and we all just turned and were like, "What the fuck?"
Oh man, I need to go to Amsterdam.
Oh, God, I need to
It's a
fucking
great
travel.
place.
All right, so the next question that I have here, let me see. Okay, so I have 2 more questions here, and that'll be perfect for us in terms of time. Both of these are by Greg, actually. 2 more questions from Greg. What 2019 new game releases or releases are you most looking forward to playing and or streaming? Now we're looking at 2019 specifically,
Yeah.
so we're not going to talk
Yeah.
about The
I'm
Last of Us 2.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to call Greg out for being a piece of shit here and specifically saying
Yeah,
2019
yeah.
because he knows my answer for 2020.
Yeah.
2019 is a weird one though, because like most of them, I've not really been excited for too many games this year.
Well, I'm excited for a lot of games to play, but I can't stream from my Switch right now until I can save enough money to buy a new Elgato, and I'm not going to be able to do that for a while because all my spare change is going to be going to flying to Texas or PAC South. But um,
Yeah.
I definitely am looking into Borderlands 3. That's the big one. Now, I don't know what system I'm going to get it on, whether it's PC or PS4.
I think most of the other people are doing PC at the moment, I believe.
Yeah,
I'm doing PS4.
well, I want to
Yeah,
co-stream it, and my big thing is if I want to co-stream it, which will probably be with either Leppely or Tom. Tom's gonna get it on PS4. Lep's gonna obviously, like you said, get it on PS4. So I feel like it would be more in my best interest to also get it on PS4.
Because I'm doing PS4 because my computer won't run it.
My PC will run it because this PC is a bad motherfucker. But I feel like it'd be better on me on the PS4.
I'm personally not really bothered about Borderlands. I did an entire podcast discussing why I couldn't really care less about this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they had Control, which just released.
Which is like female. I've heard it's like female Alex Wake or whatever. What is that series is called?
Alan Wake.
It's by Remedy. It's like about telekinesis and psychic powers and shit. And it seems like
I've heard really good things about it. So.
I've heard nothing but great things about it. But the issue is like that game has really flown under the radar here in the UK, and it's just like it's just one of the scenarios where it's like I've not really had a chance to do it yet. So, and because it's already out, I'm like, well, I'm probably not going to be making content on it until a little bit later, where I can do the 2 Alan Wake games, which I own, and this one. And then Blair Witch is another one.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's coming out.
Because I will buy anything Bloober Team makes.
I don't do horror.
Bloober Team. Well, sorry.
I don't do horror, so that one's
yeah. You should do horror. That's like, but yeah, no. I will buy anything Bloober Team make. They've made. I've played 2 of their games, both of which were fucking some of the best horror games I've ever played. I've yet to play Laser Fear 2, but I've heard good things, and Blair Witch seems like a very interesting one. And because of their style, they do a lot of very mind-fucky horror instead of jump scare horror, although jump scares are involved. it's more so just like fucking with you.
See, I can
I
do.
don't know.
I
Have
can
either
do
of you
that
have
type
either
of
of you
horror.
done Layers of Fear? Have either of you seen
No, I
that?
have. I've seen it, but I haven't played it. I've seen both of them, but I haven't played them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Layers of Fear is a very mind fucky game. Whereas, like, you'll open a door and then there'll be a complete different room to the last time you opened the door. Rooms change around you whilst you're in them. You know, it's that kind of stuff. Like, you can look up and then suddenly where a ceiling was, there's now a void that goes infinitely upwards. It's like a bunch of crazy shit, all done in like an art style which is very paint orientated because you play as an artist. Then they did Observer, which is a cyberpunk game, so naturally I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And you play as like a fucking cyborg detective essentially, and you get to hack into people's minds and go into their minds. So imagine the trippy cybernetic visuals they do. So yeah, it's just like they're great. So the idea of them doing a paranormal thing, like Blair Witch, sounds fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
So
has a lot of
I'm not,
potential.
yeah, I'm not seeing anything about that game. I'm not going to watch anything about that game. I'm going to do it myself. Um, Other ones for me, The Outer Worlds, I guess.
When does that come out?
That's that's
I think it's
sometime soon.
I think it's like
I've,
November.
November
That
sounds
might
right.
be
Yeah, a lot of
that might be a
November's
Christmas
peak
list game
month.
for me. Yeah, that might be a Christmas list game for me. I always have I always have games that I go after, and then I have a Christmas list that I put together for my family to buy me stuff, and that's probably going on the
Yeah.
Christmas list.
The Outer Worlds is the 25th of October. There we are.
Okay, so yeah, it's still going to go on the Christmas
Practically November.
It's practically November. They're all the same month at this point anyway.
Yeah, it's game season essentially. The other one
pretty
then,
much.
for me coming out in 2019 is Jedi Fallen Order. That's the main one for me, I guess, because it's Star Wars. And I love Star Wars. But yeah, like most of the games I want are coming out early next year. So all two of them really at this point. All two that I'm looking forward to are out next year. So, what about you, Lynn?
Let's see. My list. The top of my list is definitely Borderlands 3. I am such a huge Borderlands fan that I am so excited for 3 to come out. I don't know if I'll be streaming it, but we will definitely be playing on PS4. Right behind that is Outer Worlds, because I just watched the new trailer, the one about like come to Halcyon, and it looks great, and I'm so excited. And then right behind that, again, Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, that's it this year. Of course.
Yeah, fucking finally.
If you want to see me play it together, how that makes sense.
Just
last week's podcast, I did a games comment. Well, actually, no, sorry, the week before last, because I've started doing the upload schedule differently, and it's completely thrown me. Essentially, the week before last, I did a Gamescom special where at 45 minutes of the madness talking about Death Stranding and how it makes sense.
Yeah, I
completely
super excited for it. Yeah, that one's in October too, right? Or
that's October, November.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that one, and aside from that, Control looks really great, which largely like kind of flew under the radar here too. But I heard more about it like just as it led up to its release, and it sounds really cool, and I really want to play it, especially after Greg started pointing out all the outside.
There is
absolutely loved Alan Wake.
And I don't know when this game is out. Okay, it's 2020. Don't worry about it. It was from E3 this year, and I didn't remember when it was coming out, so I wanted to check. But it's 2020. Don't worry about it.
What game is this?
Did you either of you watch the Xbox conference at E3 this year?
I did.
I missed like everything at E3 this year.
So, do you remember seeing a game called 12 Minutes, which is about like it's like a Groundhog Day loop?
I think
and
so.
It's like
Actually,
a murder mystery.
I remember seeing that. I missed the Xbox performance, but I do remember seeing like the highlight about that one.
Yeah, so as soon as I saw that one, I was like, this looks fucking dope.
Oh no, but it's 2020.
Yeah, it's 2020.
And Greg has restricted us.
The last one on my list, because I believe it's a 2019 release. If it's out, I think it's out now. Is Man of Medan?
Yes, it's out right now.
I believe Man of Medan just dropped.
Yeah, I think it
just dropped.
just came
I
out.
have watched a couple people play it. Holy fuck, that game!
I've heard.
It dropped.
Real good things about it.
For those that don't know, Man of Medan is the follow-up game by the people who made Until Dawn.
Yes.
It's their kind of next big
Yes.
project. And if you haven't played Until Dawn is so fucking good.
God, yes. Please, everybody should play Until Dawn. Oh my god, I love
Until Dawn was the horror game that I couldn't finish, and that's when I learned that I can't do horror games off stream.
I finished it in one sit. Like I just sat down on a Sunday and I just blew through the whole thing, and then I replayed it to like get some of the other achievements and other like endings and stuff. But I one sitting, I just one shot in that game. I loved it so much.
No,
but yeah, that's my list. So.
I've watched. So I was up until 4:30, almost 5. I think I was up to like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Watching Miss Alley Cat and Drea Geek Girl play that. And I was in their Discord, like I was modding for Alley, and they were playing an online co-op version because you can play it online, right? Mm-hmm. And if you play it online, yeah. So Man of Medan, it's a 5-player local. So like if you're using the same PC or the same laptop or same something like that, you can have 5 people playing because there's 5 characters. Or if you're doing online, you can do 2 characters, and basically you each control like one person. Or
that sounds like a perfect mechanic for that kind of game.
Yeah.
For their kind of game. If they ever remade Until Dawn, I would love to see Until Dawn with that.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah. So and it's like you alternate choices and stuff like that. And so basically, what was funny for that stream was they were both extremely intoxicated, and watching them try to do this shit drunk was hysterical. But it was really, it's just the concept is so cool. So Leppely, if you really want to play it, it might be something we can pencil in as a co-stream at some point.
Hell yeah. I'm into it. Just fucking sign me up and let me know when.
Yes.
But screw Greg for limiting us to 2019 because there's so many good games in 2020.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks. When you watch this on YouTube, because I'm actually going to put this one on YouTube, I hope you see it, and I hope you understand that we love you, but we hate you.
Yeah.
You knew I would just talk about Cyberpunk for an hour and then briefly mention Watch Dogs and then talk about Monster Prom 2 for an hour.
Yes.
So, speaking of Greg, this is how we're going to end it here. All right, so this is the last question we're going to ask, and it's going to be a perfect segue into next week, hopefully. Greg asks, under the Gamer Redefined username, not Greg, he asks, how do we get a guest spot here on the Fireside Chat podcast? And all you have to do is ask. That's right. We're taking guests at some point. Now, I want to do it next week, but I also understand that the horrendous job that I work right now tends to limit me on time. So I understand 10:30 at night, as you can tell, is not always ideal. How Vivid does it, I don't know. How Leppely does it. Well,
I took a nap today.
Yeah, Vivid has to take a nap to do this. And Leppely is an hour behind me, but she works tomorrow, so...
Actually, tomorrow I have the day off. But normally I do work.
Yeah,
Monday,
normally, so...
And I wanted to take a nap today, but I've had company over, and we've been watching anime all day, and I would, kind of doze off on the couch, and Ben would, smack me awake again. And I was like, I just want to take a nap.
An asshole is keeping me up till midnight tonight. You don't understand.
I was like, I'm not gonna make it until 9 o'clock tonight. I can't do it.
What's up, Jadrian? So you're actually coming in towards the end here, unfortunately. But hello, I love you. How are you? Definitely got to check out the VOD. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts we've done. Honestly, this has been a really fun one.
This has been a good one. We should do these every couple months or so.
Every couple months, just do an AMA. But yeah, so as far as guests go, obviously it's gonna have to coincide with the timing of this, with it being 10:30. Obviously, if I can get a night off we can do them like at 8 or even 9, which will probably be a little bit easier on everybody.
Yes.
So that would probably be ideal for guests. And the issue is, it's a lot of people are gonna have to clear a schedule for it, and would probably like advance notice, and I can't give that. So guess it's going to be kind of a hit or miss thing. Usually, I come up with a topic about Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, and then we spend the next 3 or 4 days looking into it. So obviously, I've got backup ideas for next Sunday if we can't. But my plan is to reach out to you, Greg, and see if you would like to come onto the podcast next week. So now you have to watch the VOD. You have to watch this video
because this is how you find out.
I now have to get this thing edited tomorrow so that you can watch this on YouTube.
Yep.
But yes,
you gotta get it up on YouTube.
But yes, Greg is the first one that I want to have as a guest. After the last person I wanted to have. Hopefully, Greg does not fuck me over like the last person I wanted to have a guest on here. So Greg, if you've got skeletons in your closet, please don't tell me until we have you on here, please. Thank you very much. But yes, that is my plan. So Greg, I'll be in touch with you. Obviously, I have a backup plan if he's not available for next Sunday. For us. Now, after this AMA, honestly, I've come up with about 3 or 4 new topics we could all discuss. So, and actually, I think the bullying thing would probably go really well with Greg next week. So I might throw that in there if he's okay with talking about something like that, because I know, I know he's probably experienced a whole lot of that type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah, that's going to be a fun little idea that I've got there for next week, and I'll discuss more of that as soon as I get my schedule, which, hey, guess what? I haven't got it yet. Of course I haven't.
As per
usual, I'll text you guys at 2 a.m. Hey, guess what? I'm off on Wednesday. Let's do something. But that is the end of tonight's podcast. This has been a fantastic one. We got some great questions. We had some great conversation. We basically talked about Minecraft for the first 30 minutes. It was great.
The same thing happened on my podcast as well. Come to think about it.
I know. I feel like it did.
But however, that didn't count because my microphone died for that. So. But it happened.
Yep.
Yep.
So, any closing thoughts, Vivid, Lep, before I close this out?
I got nothing tonight.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, fantastic. I guess I'll go ahead and close this out then.
I'm about to have a sneezing fit, so my brain's just like.
So, do you two have any plans for the week?
I have a bunch of shit. Mostly involving getting rid of this voice issue as soon as I can.
Yeah,
but
it's a solid one.
Basically, the Cyberpunk gameplay reveal was made. I did our live reaction to that on Mixer, on the VC Mixer, which hopefully I can change soon to Chim Live or something. Hopefully it will let me. But essentially, I'll be uploading the VOD of that, the reaction to that, and then I might even try and do a breakdown of that reveal. Because I've never done one of those, and I've always been curious to try one. So I might do a breakdown of that, discuss how it relates to the tabletop version of it, what it can mean based on like stuff that we've shared about the game from articles and so on. Just do a bit of a deep dive into their deep dive and see what's going on. And then we got the podcast this Thursday. I'm bringing on Hannibal Game, who's a horror-based YouTube creator, actually, speaking of horror games. So we're going to be discussing, I imagine, a horror game. And she hasn't got... Yeah, she hasn't got back to me with the game yet, but the deadline for that is Wednesday.
Time, so yeah, just a little bit of time.
Yeah, Wednesday's the deadline for that stuff, so I can do research that night. But yeah, that should be a little fun one. See what kind of... It might not even be a horror game, actually different. I don't know. That's kind of the fun thing about the show is I don't know until quite soon before it goes live. And then I'll probably be doing some more Pillars of Eternity stuff, hopefully with not this voice, because the last time I did it, I also had a really bad voice. And so that was fun. And hopefully we can try and get a Monster Prom thing going at some point, maybe this week or next week.
Yes, we need to.
Yeah, because
again,
our deadline
guys...
is...
I'll let you
Deadline's
guys know
ticking.
my schedule as soon as I get it, and we can plan something.
Our deadline is ticking, so we definitely need to get on it. So
Well, I don't have a whole lot planned this week. I'll be
Minecraft and memes.
basically. I'll probably be back streaming Marbles tomorrow night, and I think I'm gonna start trying to do after the show with Matt on Wednesdays. I think I'm gonna try to start doing like maybe an hour stream, whether it's like Marbles or Minecraft or something, just to like chill, and particularly during the month of September, because the whole September thing, I really want to try to like
Yes, I'm trying to. I'm actually
push my cheap ass friends to get on it and give me money.
Yes, because yes, that's the other thing. For anyone that's watching that might not know this, it's never subbed before, because I don't know if resubs count. I do know new subs count. If you've never subbed,
I think resubs count too, because it's basically just like every sub.
Yeah, I don't know for certain, but if you've never subbed before, wait until the 3rd, because on the 3rd, which is Tuesday, it's half off subs. So you can sub for $2.50 versus the full $4.99.
It's $2.50 for you and $2.50 for me.
Yes. So if you've never subbed before,
I'm gonna stop the prices here. Just bring up some real shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
The internet has done it again, people. It's been listening in. Because my top recommended trend on Twitter happens to be fucking Minecraft. I'm just saying. They've done it again.
Oh my god.
God, that's good.
God damn it. Yep. All right. So anyway, so for me, this week I am to take advantage of September. I am going to be pushing myself to stream 6 days a week. I am opening up Fridays as a short stream, because obviously I usually work late Friday nights. Usually get home around 11, so I'm not expecting a lot of people. If I don't see a lot of people on a Friday night stream, then I'm probably not going to do them throughout the whole month. But that is something I was considering doing, just trying to like expand and get like 6 streams in. I'm also going for a stream team, which I meant to plug for this stream, but I forgot to.
Stream team.
Yes, it's actually Miss Alley Cat's stream team that she is kind of one of the leaders on. She helped create it. But they're looking for 8. They're looking for 8 new members. They had some members leave, and then they're expanding the roster. So they're looking for 8 people. So I'm gonna try to go for that.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just have to start like tagging my stream stuff properly. So I'm trying to expand for the September, as well as to basically put myself out there as much as possible, in hopes that I can get a part of that, because that would be really good for me. Business-wise, being on a stream team is really good for networking, but also I've made really good friends with a lot of people in Scrub Force, and so I think it'd be really cool for me just to be able to like play with them normally, and play with them with like, right now I'm kind of a guest on their streams, and I'm kind of like that, but I feel like if I'm part of the stream team, it would be more of like a partnership when I'm playing with them. And I feel like, they're also all really good guys, really good friends, and so I'm hoping that I can do something with that. But this week, I'm definitely doing more Trails of Cold Steel, just because I love that game, and the game is getting really good. And then I want to do Minecraft at some point with you folk, because Minecraft with you folk is extremely fun. And I also want to do more World of Warcraft, because I have gotten addicted to WoW Classic. So I've got a character on like 3 servers. So what were you saying, Lep?
I had to hop to WoW Classic and wanted me to play, but I never could like get into WoW. And then I have some other streamer friends that are playing it as well, and they have built up, but they're like on the UK servers. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we'd love if you join us." Just like, eh. And then yesterday Ben hopped back into Final Fantasy 14, and he was like, "You should hop back in and play, because like I miss having our party together." And I was like, "Yeah, I could get back down with some Final Fantasy 14." And so now WoW is completely out of the question. So I might actually start streaming some Final Fantasy again as well. So we'll see how that goes, because I've got like 2 or 3 expansions to catch up on because I stopped a while back, and they just came out with the newest one, so I got to catch up.
Yeah, I need to get back into Final Fantasy 14 myself. I've had a lot of people that wanted to play that with me. But it's like
Dude, I will totally play with you.
Well, once I get the WoW addiction out of my system, because I'm already paying $15 a month for that. Once I get WoW out of my system and I can redistribute that $15 towards Final Fantasy, then I'll get back into that.
Yeah, let me know.
Anyway,
from heroin to crack.
Yeah, pretty much. So that is going to be the end of tonight's podcast. So as far as ratings, so Bella, the reason she stopped in chat is because Bella has gone live. Drea, who I was talking about earlier, watching Man of Merdan, is also live.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of them should we rate? I feel like we should raid Bella because she was the one that was here.
She supported us.
She's got a lot more viewers. She's that bigger streamer. Like that was a huge fucking deal that she popped in. She's one of the partner streamers that I've made friends with lately. But she's got like 200 people watching her right now. We're gonna see what's up with her because I was gonna go to that stream anyway, so it kind of fits that we just go ahead and raid her. Girl with yellow
I like that you guys are just like, hey, we're back on the MMOs, and I'm like, I should probably play that game again, which I've not played in like a little while. Classic, I'm playing Final Fantasy. I'm like, I never finished Prey.
Dude, I didn't either. I need to finish Prey because I was really fucking liking it too. It's so good.
Yes, so
I stopped finishing it because I was like,
So we're gonna go hit up Bella's stream right now. Brace yourselves. She's very interesting. She basically streams under like different characters and stuff like that, but she has no filter. She's very very rated M for mature. More than likely, it'll be something sexual when we jump in there because it typically is whenever I tune in. So brace yourselves for that. We're gonna go hit up Bella. You guys have a fantastic Sunday night, and I will be back with you guys tomorrow night. Fuck knows what I'm playing, but I'm going to play one of those 3 games I mentioned. You guys have a fantastic night. Thank you, Leppely and Vivid, for being here.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys tomorrow, and we will see you guys next week, hopefully, with Greg. Have a good night.
Drink water.
Hydrate.
Hydrate yourselves.
It's just like, holy
oh my god, I gotta fucking close everything down. Nothing's
fuck. You know me so well. How do you fucking know me so well? Nomad Eric, thank you so much for the raid. I'm really glad that I stopped by in your stream today. I think that is so awesome that you're doing like a fireside little podcast thing. I want to do that, but I just don't know how. Although me, Knights and Claire,
would you like to send you
Dovey Cryptids, and Tropical Moisture are planning right now like a little podcast thing, and I think that is just I'm not ready for it. I want to talk about like fucking conspiracies or aliens, right?
He died, baby.
We're gonna have that. And no, Chabinsky wants to do so. I just need to move so I can plan everything properly. It worked okay. The Ashley from the critically acclaimed Denny stream, that is correct. R. Don't do that to me ever again, please. We mentioned doing guests at the end of the night. Wink, wink. Oh, so you're saying that I would be allowed to be on there and talk to other humans?
Shit, I forgot.
Is that what you're implying? Or am I not invited because I'm not fucking cool enough? I get it. Whatever.
I just forgot.
Whatever. I'm just not cool enough. Oh, no. I'm just like nothing to you. I'm just like garbage to you, aren't I? I'm just fucking nothing. That makes me Denny's stream that wasn't at Denny's.
She's too much.
We were at